Hello to our freaky family. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Kandi.
And this is Sips of Crime. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hope everybody is doing good today. I don't know about you guys, but today was the first day of school for North Carolina, for this area. I hope everybody made it. Hope you all are okay.
We're not there yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, you guys doing all right? You guys make it okay? I know you did because you guys are totally awesome and you guys are kick-ass. So, what have you been up to, Kandi? What you doing? What you reading? What you drinking? What's going on?
I am still listening to The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule.
Yes.
It's like 18 hours long.
I was about to say, you've been listening to that for a while.
Well, and I haven't been doing every day just because I'll get busy and then I don't want to not be able to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because there is so much more info.
Oh.
If you want to devote 18 hours, not all at one time,
Where are you listening to it?
Audible.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, we'll link that below, and you can also find our monthly read on our website at sipsofcrime.com. We have a monthly newsletter, and we update that monthly with our favorites. That's a crazy book. I've heard just about every single podcast that I listened to leading up to that episode mentioned that book.
It's good.
And so...
And because most of the time if I do listen to a book, it's like during work or, driving down the road or whatever. But I think I'm going to attempt to, listen to a book and read a book. So,
simultaneously at the same time?
Yeah, I'll let y'all know how that goes. It might crash.
Oh, man, I don't know. I feel like if I did that, I would have to have two very different books.
Yes.
Like, I would have to have maybe one that's more kind of informational, like the one you're listening to now, and then, like, a thriller or something that I've got in my hand, or vice versa. I don't think I could listen to, two thriller books at the same time while reading another one.
Where I'm already listening to The Stranger Beside Me, a spicy book.
A spicy book.
I love it.
We like a good spicy book, you guys. Can we shout out the Facebook group that we're in?
Mel's Facebook?
Yeah, is it? Yeah. I mean, is there a link that we can share, or is that a private?
I think it's a private thing, but
can they request?
Yeah. I think so.
But if you guys are into reading like we are, we would love for you guys to join the group. It is private, but you can request to be added to it. And the group of girls that are on this group are just really great girls, and it's called Boozy Bookworms. I'm going to let Kandi kind of give you a little 411 on it.
So we just usually, they'll post funny things or, little short videos just about what they're reading. Somebody will comment and say, oh, I read that. Oh, I'm putting this on my TBR. Mm-hmm. Not just handheld books. Like if you're into Kindles or audio, any of that, it's all on there. So you'll have to check it out.
Yes, definitely go in and request to join that group because we have a lot of fun in there. And I'll try to link it if I'm able to. But we love being a part of that group, and we are pretty active in that Facebook group. So if you guys are into reading like we are, you should definitely check it out.
What are you reading?
Oh gosh, as of right now, I have just recently found Tracy Wolff and the Crave series.
I don't think I've heard of it.
I needed something a little bit more lighthearted. I've been on the Colleen Hoover train.
Yes.
And as much as I love that woman is an absolute artist. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but she's such a good writer, but she's just known for some of these kind of heavier topics. And so I just recently got through 3 of her books very recently, and I was like, gosh, I just need something a little bit, easier to read. And so I found Tracy Wolff, and the first book in her series is Crave, and it's kind of a paranormal book. It's your standard vampire and werewolf and school kind of teenage, book.
Kind of like Twilight.
Very, very Twilight. Very Twilight. But it's just been really good. It's been lighthearted, and I'm on now. Now I'm on her 3rd book in that series. I have been listening, and I've just been really enjoying it. It's a great little story. I don't want to give too much away, but so yeah, if you guys are looking for something a little bit more lighthearted, check out Tracy Wolff with 2 F's. and the Crave series. It's pretty good. It's very melodramatic, very teenager, young romance, but it's been fun. It's been fun, and I have found myself kind of laughing out loud during some of the parts. Yeah, because the main character's inner monologue is very teenager, but very just she's funny. Yeah. So been enjoying that. And now a quick word from some amazing members of our freaky family.
Hello, Twisted Humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. In 1952, there was a record high of UFOs reported. 1,500 sightings. There has been evidence of human sacrifice, devil worship, and it is haunted by more spirits than can be counted. A family of 2 adults and 2 kids reportedly saw a giant flying thing with glowing red eyes. And meanwhile, the family's nanny that helped Veronica to care for her and Lucian's children was found bludgeoned to death in the basement of their family home. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I am ready to open some wine, and you guys are going to need it for this episode.
Ooh,
yes.
I have no idea who she's doing, so
yes.
It's news to all of us.
It's a secret.
So we're going to drink 14 Hands Unicorn Rosé.
And I requested this wine for this podcast, and you will understand why when you see the photo on our Instagram page when it gets posted.
It is a delicate red fruit flavors meets a refreshing crisp finish. Like the untamed horse of Columbia Valley that stood a modest 14 hands in height, our wild and wonderful wine packs a lot of character into a mere 750 milliliter bottle.
Woo!
I have had other 14 hands wines. It's a little bubbly like some champagne.
It is a little bubbly. Yeah, 14 Hands is a brand that we have drank before. It's that critter wine. But for those of you who don't know, a horse is actually measured in hands, and they are measured from their hoof to the top of their shoulders. Oh. So when a 14 hands is actually the height of a horse, or I guess. Yes, it's not I don't think it's an actual hand. It is a legitimate form of measurement. I just don't know exactly how long a hand is.
How long does your hand have to be an accurate?
Right, yeah. But for those that's why the vineyard is named, or the winery is named 14 Hands, because hands is the height of a horse. So
it's a cute little bottle.
Yes, cheers. We haven't done a rosé in quite some time.
I can't remember, honestly. Sometimes I look at the wine when I'm ordering and I'm like, have we had this yet? And then I have to go back to the Instagram page and look. It's good.
It is a little sweeter.
It's not as dry of a rosé that I thought it was going to be.
No,
usually I'm not a fan.
I consider it to be a fairly sweet rosé. And I like the little bubbles. Okay, so because I requested, I have had this wine before, so I'm actually going to I'm going to go off of your rating this time, because I did specifically request it, so I feel like my opinion is going to be a little biased.
I'm going to say a 4.
A 4, okay.
For a rosé, I was very surprised. I thought I was going to taste this and not like it one bit. And
14 Hands does not produce a lot of sweeter wines either. They are that winery is a little bit more dry, for sure. So I can see why you were concerned that might have been the case. 4 is good. Okay.
I'll give it a 4.
4. Great. Okay, you guys. We've got a crazy story for you today. I am going to go ahead and just, kind of right off the bat give you a trigger warning. We are going to be dealing with a lot of sexual assault in this episode, so if that's not your glass of wine, no big deal. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. We understand. We don't judge here. If you need to skip over this one, maybe you're just not feeling it today. Come
back and listen.
Maybe you're just not feeling it today, and you just need, to come back a little later. We feel you. We get it. But this is going to be your trigger warning. If you're still here with us, we think you're awesome. You're brave. Welcome. Kandi, I have to ask you, before I get started on my episode.
Oh, God.
Are you planning on seeing the Barbie movie?
Well, I have heard very mixed reviews.
Have you? Yes, I have too. It is not for children, you guys. I know that it appears to be marketed towards kids. This is not something you guys need to be taking your preteens to.
I like Margaret Robbie, though.
Yes,
So
I do too.
I do want to see it. I don't know if I'm going to go to the theater and see it. I might just wait till it comes out. It's not that I don't want to see it. I do want to see it. But I think only because when you think of Barbie, you think of children,
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people thought that this was going to be more of a children's preteen movie.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, of course, you're going to have those backlashes because of what people assumed.
We're expecting.
But I don't, because I haven't watched it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say, oh, no, I'm not going to see it. Because I might watch it and think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know.
I think another thing that they were kind of trying to get at with this movie was to kind of hit the... Yeah, don't get me wrong, Barbie has been around forever, but I really think that this was marketed towards that 30-year-old nostalgia.
Yeah.
Where we were going to go and think it's funny. Our age group. I think it was really marketed towards our age group. The ones that grew up with Barbie, who are now able to kind of make a joke of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this movie was going, which I can appreciate. I have nothing against it. I have not seen it yet. I am also not one to go to the theater. It's just too expensive, and I have to leave my house to do that, which I'm not a fan of. 0 stars. So I will probably
Unless it's an overnight trip somewhere that
or to a vineyard
involves wine and food.
I'll go to that. Yes, as long
And
as if there's wine and food. No, I don't even need the music. If there's wine and food, I'll go. I will absolutely be watching it once it comes out. I'll probably buy it on my Apple TV too. But
Oh, you know what we should do?
what should we do?
We should have a girls' night. Get it on your Apple TV. Bring snacks, wine.
Yes,
Ashley's
Barbie
back
night.
home.
Barbie night.
And
We're doing a Barbie night.
We'll dress like 90s theme.
Yes!
Like 90s theme PJs.
I love it! In the spirit of the Barbie movie coming out, I am going to be telling you the story of the Ken and Barbie killers.
What?
What? Yes. I'm going to be telling you guys about Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka. 2 of the most disgusting people to have ever existed. So grab a glass
Grab a friend.
and let's dive in. Karla Leanne Homolka was born on May 4th, 1970 in Ontario, Canada. So they are out in Canada. This is a Canadian case. She was born to Dorothy and Carol. Her dad's name is spelled Karel, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Carol.
Okay, because I was like, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Okay.
Dorothy and Carol. She was a Taurus, for those of you who are into zodiac.
Oh, God.
She had
That's her problem.
She had 2 younger sisters. I couldn't find her other sister's name, but her youngest sister was named Tammy. She also suffered from asthma from a pretty early age and was actually hospitalized for it quite a bit. So it's pretty severe asthma, yeah. She was into mystery novels, and others described her as kind of bossy. She aspired to be a vet and had some pretty big dreams for her future, according to her high school friends. She was also quite conceited, full of herself. She's been described as full of herself. And I'm going to show you her picture here in just a moment.
Okay.
She was blonde and beautiful. In the 80s, she had the big hair,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And as she got older, she kind of started getting into some darker stuff. Like, she was kind of into seances and, like, Ouija boards and stuff.
You know, well, I won't say anything yet.
Who wasn't in the early 80s,
Right,
though?
but do you not, when we were younger, you remember when we would lay the pillows on the floor and it would be the one...
Light as a feather.
Yes.
Yes, so we
all
did
that.
it.
Or, you know, going in the
And now-
bathroom and saying...
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Yeah,
Yes.
and now we're hosting a true crime podcast. So we know how we all know how you guys turned out because
Right.
we're here with you. Paul Bernardo was a little older. He was born August 27th, 1964 in Scarborough, Canada, to Kenneth and Marilyn. He's a Virgo. Paul also had 2 siblings. Paul's dad, Kenneth, was just a terrible person. Just a really, really disgusting human being. And we can see that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree here, but I'm putting that lightly. He was abusive to his family and was eventually arrested for, you guys ready for this list?
No.
Pedophilia, voyeurism, being a peeping Tom, and raping his daughter. Paul's older sister, Deborah. Some accounts said that it was also in front of family members.
What the fudge?
So
how do you do that in front of family members and nobody do anything about it? Like, what the actual heck?
Yeah. Really disgusting human being. Paul's poor mother, Marilyn, suffered from severe depression. Who wouldn't after living with this man? But eventually withdrew really from the family as a whole and actually moved into the basement of their home to like stay clear of the rest of the family.
That's a little creepy, honestly.
Yeah. Despite all of this, Paul was described as a well-adjusted child. Despite this home life, he was well-mannered and happy until he turned 16. And that is when he found out that Kenneth was not his biological father. And that his mother had had an affair. Now, to me, this would be a relief.
Right. I'm nothing like my father.
Yes.
He's not my dad.
Right.
You're not my dad.
You're not my dad. Unfortunately, Paul did not take it this way. Paul was mad when he found this out and freaked out and actually started verbally abusing his mother for this, calling her a whore and yeah, just like Kenneth did. So, this poor woman. As Paul got older and started dating, though, he developed some pretty dark sexual fantasies, which is, all good. I support your dark sexual fantasies. I really do. As long as there are consenting adults. I mean,
everyone has their own.
If you are kinky, go for it. I love that for you. Just make sure that your partner is consenting. Consent is sexy, you guys. Paul was not into consent. He actually started abusing his girlfriends and his dates and would then threaten to kill them if they ever told anyone what he had done to them.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. On October 17th, 1987, Paul meets Karla.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
But feel bad for the child, not the adult.
Feel bad for the child, not the adult.
If he grew up seeing the way that what he thought was his father doing all these things, I feel like that had to have had some type of play into why he's treating the females he's seeing now that way.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
Thinks it's okay.
Yeah, the main role model in his life, the main male role model in his life was abusive to women and verbally abused their mother right in front of everybody. If not, and again, I can't corroborate what actually what went down with the sexual abuse of and incest, but I mean, if that was truly the case, that he did this in front of his other family members, in front of his other kids, in front of their mother, I mean, I can just imagine the kind of fucked up that Paul, the man didn't have a chance. We feel sorry for the child, but not the adult, just like Kandi said. So this is Paul and Karla.
No. Okay. You can't tell me when you don't think of Ken as a Barbie. He is some fine, handsome guy. Barbie, I could see her being a Barbie. She's very platinum blondish, very 80s hairstyle. But
I think we also need to remember that this is kind of the 80s. So if we consider like Saved by the Bell,
yeah, true.
He probably was quite a looker in that time frame. I don't think either one of them are beautiful on account of the fact that I know the story. But
I mean,
you guys make your own opinions.
She's decent looking. I feel like her makeup's a little dark. Her eyes look evil as shit in that picture.
Yes.
He is not cute.
Yeah.
Everybody has what they like. So y'all might think different. Y'all might be like, Kandi, you're stupid. He's fine as hell.
He's fine as hell.
No.
All right, so bringing it back to our timeline here, October 17th, 1987, Paul meets Karla. She is 17 at the time, and he is 23. They meet at a restaurant, and within just a few short hours, they are hooking up in a hotel room.
Oh, God almighty.
It was instant love, instant connection.
Lust. That is lust.
And they become exclusive, right away. Now, Karla's family adores Paul, okay? They think he is great, funny, charming, handsome. He won everybody over, right? And on Christmas Eve, December 24th of 1989, they become engaged at Niagara Falls. Now, little did everybody know, okay, Paul, at this point in time, they've been together for 2 years-ish, right? Okay. Paul has actually been a pretty well-established rapist in the area this whole time. Yeah. So police had been searching for a serial rapist that they were calling the Scarborough Rapist. Okay, he was born in Scarborough. That's where his family's from. And they had been trying to catch this guy for years. They were some pretty brutal rapes as well, you guys. These attacks normally took place near or around the victim's home, normally outside of the house. Yeah, a lot of them happened in backyards, in front of homes. Sometimes he would use a weapon, a knife. Sometimes he did not. He would normally follow them home, and there were beatings. I mean, they were pretty brutal, and he would yell at them during the attack, very verbally abusive. I mean, these, which is terrifying. He would threaten them as well, and ultimately say, like, if you say anything, I'll come back here and kill. I mean, he knew where they lived, obviously, right. And that he would threaten them and tell them that he would come back here if they said anything and kill their whole family. It was just, these were just really brutal attacks. And what's even worse is that in 1989, a 19-year-old boy by the name of Anthony Hannemeyer was actually convicted of one of Paul's attacks and went to jail.
What?
Yeah, he was in prison until Paul confessed. Yeah. May 26th of 1990, one of his victims was actually able to give the police a great description of her attacker, and they released this sketch to the media and opened up like a tip line, because they had a task force to find the Scarborough rapist, right? So they opened up a tip line. They got over 16,000 tips on that line, and 3 of them were saying that sketch was Paul Bernardo. So they bring him in. They bring him in, and he is actually questioned twice by police for these rapes, and he even provides a DNA sample. Okay, he's apparently just as cocky as Karla, because he thought he was going to get away with this, and provides a DNA sample. And when police ask him why they think he's being questioned, he's like, well, I guess I look like the picture. Yes. Now, we need to just quickly point out the timeline here. So this is 1990. DNA is still very new, and we're in Canada. There was one scientist at this point in Canada who was able to actually perform these tests. So there is a backlog of DNA samples that are waiting to be tested. And Paul just kind of gets put in there.
Well, yeah, because why not? Because he's like, oh, yeah, this is going to take forever.
Yeah, this is new, and I don't think that he even realized, like, this, what he was actually doing, because, like, the DNA sample at this point would have been like a hell no, like, because we know how that can link somebody to a crime. At this point, they don't really...
He's probably not thinking, like, hey, after I raped them and done all this to them, did they go to the doctor? Did they get a rape kit?
I don't even think he had to think that far into it. I think that this was so new that he thought, like... What is DNA? Like, that's not gonna, I think they knew what it was, but they didn't realize how
connected it
really would become. So he offers this willingly, because he's so freaking cocky about it too. He thinks he's gonna get away with this. So he's just like totally unbothered. So he's been living this secret double life, right? This whole time while courting Karla. Now they're engaged. Karla, her main focus in life is to please this man. Okay, she's completely infatuated with him and would do just about whatever he wanted. She even calls him her king, which is just disgusting. Paul, on the other hand, loved Karla very much. I think he was very attracted to her and did, in fact, really have feelings for her, as much as a monster like this can have true feelings.
Right.
But he had a really hard time getting past the fact that Karla was not a virgin. This was
That's what you're concerned about?
He really had a problem with this, yeah. And made it very well known to Karla that this bothered him, right? Going back to everything, and her family, again, loves this guy, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Her younger sister, Tammy, actually took a really special liking to him. She was 15 at the time, and Karla was, they met at 17 so she's 19 now.
Yeah.
Older sister, like the cool older sister. You have a younger sibling. So, there was a point in time where he, like, probably thought that you were just the coolest thing. And wanted to hang out.
All of my friends were hot.
Exactly.
And I'm like, will you leave my freaking friends alone?
Exactly.
You freaking creeper.
Yes.
My brother is not a creeper by any means.
No, he's a very sweet guy.
He is.
But yeah, so, she, like I said, she looks up to her sister. She's got this cool older boyfriend, and they're hanging out at the house. Like, I can, so she really, like, the whole family claims that Paul was like this big brother that they never had kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Paul also takes a liking to Tammy. Yeah, and in 1990, he began to pressure Karla into, quote, allowing him to have sex with Tammy, unquote, because her virginity is something that Karla can give, right? Yes, this is Karla's decision, okay?
Are you about to tell me Karla's okay with this?
Can we just pause for just a second and just conversate on how that conversation went? Like,
if some guy...
Your fiance, they're engaged at this point. Your fiance fucking comes to you and is like, listen, you know that I have a problem with you not being a virgin, right? I've made that clear to you. Can I have your sister's virginity? Like, can we just talk about how that conversation went?
We would not be getting married, and I would tell you to get the F out, and I would be beating the crap out of you.
Thank you. It's just, okay. So, now, Karla's not totally on board with this, okay? She's not totally on, like, she doesn't love this plan. She tells Paul no, but Paul just cannot get past what he wants. And Paul gets kind of obsessive, infatuated with Tammy, and starts to request that Karla start dressing up as Tammy when they have sex. And Karla does this.
Red flag, red flag, red flag.
He starts watching Tammy through the window, and when Karla finds out about this... Guess what she does? What do you think she does?
At this point, I don't even know, but I'm going to say it's pretty bad.
She breaks Tammy's window so that she can't pull the shade down anymore, so that Paul can get better access. Breaks her own sister's window so that her fiancé can peeping Tom. Mm-hmm.
That is messed up.
It really is. Unfortunately, also in July of 1990, she finally agrees to help Paul rape her sister. She is currently working at a vet clinic at this time. She had aspired to be a vet.
Right.
And so she has access to these drugs and things like that. And so she steals some tranquilizers and Valium from the animal hospital that she works at to help Paul drug and sedate Tammy so that Paul can have her virginity. Karla makes Tammy some spaghetti with a dose of Valium in it, and this puts Tammy completely out. And this allows Paul to begin raping her while Karla watches.
What the hell?
Tammy wakes up from this, and everybody's just like, oh, it's so weird. You fell asleep. Like, yeah. And unfortunately, poor Tammy has no idea what just happened to her.
That is so freaking sad.
Everybody goes about their business. 6 months before their wedding, on Christmas Eve of 1990, 5 months after Tammy's first rape, Paul decides that they need to do it again, that he's ready for it again.
She's not a virgin anymore, though.
Yep. So
why do
that's
you
a
want to
good
do
point.
it?
Don't really know what's going on with that. I mean, he's just a sick human being, is why. But yeah. Karla. So okay. So the whole family is at the house celebrating Christmas. Okay. They are having dinner. Paul is making like home videos of everybody on his video camera, and everybody's chatting. And when this Christmas dinner starts kind of winding down, Paul and Karla offer Tammy some spiked eggnog and like a chance to go watch some movies downstairs with them. And of course, Tammy, being super excited to be included with her older cool sister and her fiance, willingly agrees. You're getting some spiked eggnog. I mean, at 15, I would have been super excited to do that with my older sister. Mm-hmm. And so they all head down to like a furnished basement that everybody like hangs out at and watches TV down there. Karla gave Tammy some eggnog that was laced with halophane, which is actually an anesthetic that's used for like dogs when they go under for surgery, and it is obviously much stronger than Valium. This is, and I just want to stop here for just a second. This is a medication given by a medical professional that has to be measured out per like weight of the dog and how long the dog needs to be under. Karla is not the person who administers this medication at the vet clinic and has no fucking idea what she is doing with this medication. At this point, Tammy does not just go to sleep. She goes unconscious. Like, just totally out, because halophane is much stronger than just a Valium. Everything that happens after this is just absolutely horrific. So take a sip of your wine, everybody. We just filled up our glasses. You guys are going to need it. And let's all just take a deep breath. Paul begins raping Tammy while Karla films it on the video camera.
What the hell?
The same video camera that Paul had just used to film Christmas dinner. During this horrific attack, when Tammy starts to slightly stir awake, they hold a halophane-soaked rag to her face until she goes out again. So now it's not only been ingested via her drink, she's also now inhaling it. It's coming in contact with her skin as well. Again, this was not a drug that is supposed to be ingested this way. It is supposed to be injected directly into your bloodstream per the correct dosage. This attack goes on for hours, and the whole thing is on film. And it shows both Paul and Karla raping Tammy.
What?
Yes. Karla is a active and willing participant in this. Tammy eventually starts to vomit and develops a fucking chemical burn on her face from the halophane soaked rag. And instead of helping her, they clean her up and take her back up to her bedroom and call 911. When police and medical professional arrive, they tell these people that she just got really drunk and that's why she's vomiting, and that the burn on her face is actually just carpet burn from when Paul had dragged her to her bed because she was so fucked up. Yes.
You can't tell me that he was not strong enough to pick her up over his shoulder.
No, I don't.
Like not to be rude, like a sack of potatoes.
Yes. Yeah, no, you absolutely could have carried her to her room. Yeah, so he claims that he dragged her to the bedroom, she got a carpet burn on her face, and that is what the medical personnel take the story.
I've had some horrific carpet burn, and that is not a chemical burn.
Yeah. I will not be posting the pictures of her autopsy photos online, but sorry, yeah, I know, I just told you. She is rushed to the hospital and is pronounced dead upon arrival. Yeah, I will not be posting her autopsy photos, but the chemical burn is nothing like a carpet burn. It doesn't look, the way that the fact that these medical professionals don't realize that this is a chemical burn is beyond me. But she is rushed to St. Catherine's General Hospital and was pronounced dead on arrival. Her death being ruled an accident.
They didn't do anything?
Nope.
So he got away with raping her twice.
They both did.
And
they both got away with this.
Piece of shit.
Unfortunately, you guys, this is just kind of where the story starts.
Did he ever get in trouble for this?
I'll talk to you about it later.
If he don't, I'm going to find him. I'm going to beat the shit out of him. He might be dead now, but that's not the problem.
3 weeks after Tammy's death, Paul and Karla make another home video, doing various sex acts in front of the fire in the basement where Tammy was killed.
Them two.
Oh,
okay.
Mm-hmm. And in this video, Karla is talking about how much she loved watching him rape Tammy and how much she loved raping Tammy. She also says how much she loved watching him rape the other young girl that they had a few days before that. The fuck?
Okay, this is hard for me because, I mean, they're all, like, we do some twisted stories. Like, we do some harsh stories. But usually I'm the one telling it, and I've already, like, controlled my brain to not accept the information.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, I'm having to give it to you right now.
This is your sibling.
Mm-hmm. Your baby sister.
If someone... Now, I don't have a sister. I have a brother, though. Someone messes with my brother, and I become a different person. Like, you're not going to be mean to my brother. You're not... Even my own husband. Jordan would pick on Dale and stuff, and I'm like...
And you're like,
absolutely
excuse
not.
me.
I was like, leave him alone.
Yeah.
And I remember
He's not just one of the boys. He is my brother. Like,
I remember them not getting into it, but like Jordan just like picking on him, and I'm like getting pissed off, and
defensive,
I'm like,
yeah.
And my brother is fine, y'all. My brother is perfectly fine.
And I would like to point out, much bigger of a man than either one of us.
He's fine. He can hold his own. He is fine.
Yes. But
the fact that he is my brother, and I'm like, you need to fucking stop right now. But how do you sit there and not protect your sibling?
Yep. She goes on in this video to say that, okay, I am actually going to go ahead and top you guys off. This next comment is pretty fucked up. So if you want to skip ahead a few moments, I would do it now. But in this video, she says that she then wants to have 4 kids with him so that he can rape all of them.
Excuse me?
This woman is a literal monster. She is
Is
scary.
she still alive? Because I'm going to go beat the crap out of her. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Somebody messes with my kid?
Yep.
Now, y'all, I know I protect my brother, but somebody messes with my child?
Yeah.
I will sit in jail with a smile on my face.
This video eventually moves from the basement into Tammy's room, where the two of them are like walking around looking at like her pictures, and Paul is talking about how much he loved her.
And this is all on video.
All of this is on video. And then Karla walks out in Tammy's clothes, and they have sex on her bed.
That's so creepy.
This video is presented as evidence. And I feel horrible for the jury because they had to sit through it and watch this. Yeah.
Have you been on jury before?
No, I've never done it before.
Like, even, like, jury duty?
Yeah, I haven't done it before.
No, I haven't either, but
I will say, since we're talking about some jury duty, if you are a halfway normal person with sane thoughts, and if you are capable of serving on a jury and providing a normal point of view, if you have reasonable thoughts in your head, if you get the call for jury duty, please go and serve. Please just go and do it. I know that everybody thinks that it's this huge waste of time, but I
want to do it.
This was brought to my attention recently, though. This is a big deal, so we are going to just stop for a second. Because if you're able to serve on a jury, please go and do it. It is your civil duty, but more than that, so many people come to jury duty and try to get out of it, and what are you left with? People who don't have the jobs that are required to get you out of jury duty. People who have the time to just do, you're left with kind of this population of people who are minorities. And that's not really a fair jury. Not all cases that you get called for. In fact, most of the cases that you get called for are not long commitments. They're normally just your civil duty. But if you ever were to get in trouble, you want your peers to back you up.
Right.
And if you're trying to skip out on jury duty, you're kind of screwing the process. No, and that's the fact. Like, a lot of the times you won't even have to serve because they are looking for a specific person. But if you are selected, or if you have the availability, or if you can do it, no, you're not going to get paid a whole lot. But if you can serve on a jury,
I just want to go be a jury.
If you can go serve on a jury, please do it.
All these people that listen to criminal podcasts or do a crime podcast,
call us.
Yes,
we will do it
every
We will
day.
come to bat for you guys. I love it. So anyway,
that's my new job. That's my new job.
I'm just a jury duty now. I'm a jury dutier.
What do you do? Oh,
I work on a jury. Have you seen that TikTok of the guy who's like talking about jury duty? Hold on a second. Okay, we're gonna stop.
That shit sounds stupid. So you're telling me there's a guy who did a crime, and you need me to show up so you can convince me whether or not he did it? I didn't go to law school. Who gives a fuck what I think? Like, a jury of my peers are dumb as fuck. I'm just confused because, like, why isn't it a job? Like, why is jury duty a thing? Why don't you just hire jury people full-time and have them clock it and get, like, an associate's degree in jury duty? Why do we have to grab randos off the street? NPCs. Why do I have to convince a Lifetime Fitness front desk employee, an Arby's shift lead, and a librarian that I'm not guilty for murder?
Okay, so ending my PSA with, if you are capable and able to serve on a jury, please just do it. PSA over.
Okay.
Back to this horrific story. The jury had to sit through all of it, right? And that sucks. In 1991, they start using Karla's sweet blonde face to lure young girls for Paul. Karla calls a young ex-coworker. Her name was never released, but she invites her out for like a girls' day, and they go shopping, and she like invites her back to her place for some drinks, and this girl accepts. Karla spikes her drink with halophane, and when she blacks out, she calls Paul and says that she has a wedding gift for him. And he comes over, and they both rape her while filming, and this young girl wakes up the next morning super sick from being dosed. And she just thinks it's from the alcohol, because this was the first time that she had ever drank. With fucking Karla Homolka.
You killed your sister with that drug, and you're still going to continue to use it.
Yeah, she didn't feel sorry for any of that.
No, she doesn't feel sorry for nothing, clearly.
No. So the first time this poor girl drinks alcohol is with Karla Homolka. And she wakes up the next day feeling super sick, and she thinks it's just from drinking too much, and she has no idea what happened to her the night before. They invite her back a few months later, and they do it again, but this time she stops breathing during the attack. And Karla calls like an ambulance, like 911, but then quickly calls them back and says that everything is fine because Paul was actually able to resuscitate her.
Please tell me they still showed up.
None of this was followed up on.
What? I thought that no matter what, you still had to show up. Like, even if your phone, you know how, like, if you...
I think that is the rule. At least here in America. I don't know about Canada, but yeah, I mean,
true.
Here in America, they're supposed to. They don't always do it here either.
I put my phone in a lawn chair, and it had doubled my buttons, and it called 911.
I accidentally triggered my SOS once as well.
And I hung up, and the cops showed up at my house not even 5 minutes later.
So it didn't happen in my case. I accidentally called 911, and I have this little like thing set up to where like if I hit this button, it will call 911 for me, and then it will also send a text message to my mother and my husband that I called 911. Mm-hmm. My mother called me back. And it was like, what's going on? Is everything fine? And I'm like, yes, it was in my purse. It's no big deal. And the police did call me back. And I explained that it was in my purse and it was no big deal. But nobody showed up at the park where Dakota had her soccer game. That's where I was. And
I was
nobody
at the house,
showed up.
And the cop, or 911 called back. And I said, nope, it was just an accident. My SOS went off. Cop was still at my house before I even got off the phone with 911.
I'm glad that happened for you. But they did not show up at the park. What? They called me back. Because, of course, when I realized what was going on, like, I shut everything off. Like, I just stopped. Like, I didn't put the phone to my ear to talk. Yeah. I just shut everything off.
That's what I did.
So they did call me back. And they were like, hey, we just got a call. You know, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm at my daughter's soccer game. I'm here at the King Rec. Like, it was in my purse, and it hit my SOS button. But they didn't show up at the park to, like, confirm any of it. No. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So none of this was followed up on. She did survive. But again, has no idea that she was assaulted at this point. Yeah. In February of 1991, so I told you they moved in together, and suddenly the rapes in Scarborough stop. And a new string of rapes start in St. Catherine. Imagine that. Because that's where they live.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's put two and two together.
Yeah. On June 15th of 1991, Paul went trolling, and he spotted 14-year-old Leslie McAfee. She was coming home very late from a funeral from a friend that had passed away unexpectedly and had left the funeral with a bunch of her friends. This poor girl had actually missed her curfew, and when her friends dropped her off at her house, she found herself locked out of her home because her parents were trying to teach her a lesson.
Oh no, I bet her parents feel absolutely awful.
Could you freaking imagine?
No, I could not.
So she's at the front door, banging on the door, like trying to wake her parents up to let her inside, and Paul approaches and offers her a cigarette. When they get to his car, he blindfolds her and throws her in the car, takes her back to the home that he shares with Karla. They keep her for 24 hours while Paul and Karla both rape her and film it. The only thing that was not filmed was her murder. When her blindfold fell off and she sees their faces, that's when they decided that she had to go. After Leslie's murder, they move her body to the basement because Karla's family was coming over for a Father's Day dinner. Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. After dinner, they dismembered Leslie and disposed of her in Lake Gibson. 2 weeks later, they get married. On June 29th of 1991, they have a big, expensive fairy tale wedding on the lake, complete with a horse-drawn carriage. I'm going to show you some pictures of their wedding. She wore this big, ugly dress, just huge, hideous dress. So here's the horse-drawn carriage.
What is that veil? The bangs.
Look at that dress. Look how it's huge.
It's the puffiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
She looks like a big, ugly marshmallow. Yeah. So.
And he's just so fucking happy.
He's so fucking happy. Yeah. During this time, while they are getting married, Leslie's remains are being found in the lake by 2 fishermen. Paul starts to express to Karla that he really wants to keep these girls alive. The killing was not part of his plan at all. He doesn't.
So we don't want to do that anymore.
We don't want to do that anymore.
We still want to rape them.
Yes, he's not a fan of this killing. He wants to keep them alive so that they can continue to be his sex slaves. That's what he really wants.
I cannot.
Yeah, he says these quick interactions with these girls and the murders, they're not doing it for him, and he wants to find someone that they can keep. So, on April 19th, 1992, they go off looking for their next victim, because that's what you do when you get married.
Let's spend our honeymoon looking for
a victim. They park in a freaking church parking lot, and they wait until 15-year-old Kristen French walks by on her way home from school. Karla lures her over, requesting some help with directions. The bitch even has a map for, to help. Mm-hmm. To help her story. And when Kristen approaches the car, Paul comes up behind her and blindfolds her and throws her in the car. Kristen's parents report her missing immediately. She was a pretty responsible kid, and they knew that when she didn't come home from school that day that something was wrong. So, this gets out pretty quickly. This is when several freaking witnesses come forward saying that they witnessed the entire abduction.
So why didn't you report it before she was reported missing?
Why are you witnessing somebody in a church parking lot get abducted and not calling anybody? Why? Who are you people? Unfortunately, though, one of the witnesses provided an inaccurate description of the car. And this throws off the entire investigation. She says that the car in question that these police need to be looking for is a beige Camaro. Paul drives a gold Nissan.
So I feel like you still should have put beige and gold, tan, all in the same category and questioned every car.
Well, the cops didn't do that. Kristen French's abduction became headlines. Mm-hmm. Big deal. They had billboards dedicated to finding this girl, and on all of the billboards, they are picturing a beige Camaro. But they ultimately were not, they weren't able to pinpoint who they were actually looking for, and they were giving this wrong description. Kristen, unfortunately, was held for 3 full days in their home and endured everything that Leslie did. Paul actually made her tell him that she loved him several times in this video, and even made her watch the news, which had a press conference of her parents pleading for her safe return. You're a monster. I can't
even speak.
Yeah, these two are absolute monsters. Karla needed to go to work the next day, though, so that was ultimately the reason that they claimed that she needed to be murdered. Because Karla didn't want to...
I thought we weren't murdering anybody anymore.
Well, here's where things get a little testy. You make a good point, and I'm going to go into that for you. Karla says that she didn't want to go to work with this girl in their house fearing that she would get, that she would escape. So they murder Kristen. Now, like I said, we're going to stop here for just a second because if you remember, Paul says that he wants to keep them alive, just like you said. And Karla is kind of starting to get kind of annoyed with this idea because you can tell that she's starting to get pretty jealous over this situation, right? Apparently at one point, Paul was like taking Kristen around the house, like showing her where things were, and like he did music, and so he had like a little studio like in his house, and like he was showing her his music and stuff. Karla likes to point out that Kristen wasn't interested in any of this. No fucking shit. She's being held hostage and being raped. Why would she show interest? Why? Okay. But you can tell that whenever, like when in these interviews, when Karla is talking about Kristen, she's super annoyed about the fact that Paul liked her. So, we're
not annoyed that he did all this stuff to your sister and all these other women, and you both were raping them. No, that's not annoying. You're not jealous of any of that.
It's that Paul wants to keep her around. So she gets super jealous. She's being whiny about it in these interviews. It's really disgusting to watch. The murders are never filmed. So in court and like in these interrogations, of course they blame each other.
Well, yeah, because
somebody's
trying to get out of it.
Paul says that Karla killed everybody. Karla says that Paul killed everybody. But the thing about it is, though, Karla in these interviews and all this stuff is that you're going to find as we get into the story that she's pretty much a habitual liar. Paul, on the other hand, as much of a disgusting human being as he is, he doesn't throw the investigation for any kind of loop. Like once he's in the interrogation room and he's like, well, you have me on video. Like he doesn't deny any of it. He denies none of it. So I truly think that Karla kills these girls. I think that she is the one who is killing these girls. I think that he wants to keep them around, and she's getting jealous and pissed that he's interested in them and does not like the idea of keeping this sex slave. But she doesn't want to tell him that because she wants him...
I still question, how is their own sex life?
Oh, I'm sure that it's quite riveting because I'm sure that after all of these crimes take place that they're indulging together as well.
I don't know. I don't know. It makes me wonder, like, are you guys having intercourse as a couple?
Or is this it?
Is this your intercourse?
Mm-hmm. For some weird reason, the holiday spirit really gets this couple all roused up. Because after Kristen's murder, they clean up and go have Easter dinner with the whole Homolka family.
Y'all, I cannot.
Yes. So, now... May 12th rolls around, and the police have been investigating this new string of murders in this area, which they actually started calling the schoolgirl rapist. I can't stand the 90s with all these different names for these people, but they start calling this new string of rapists, the guy who's committing the schoolgirl rapist. And they bring Paul in for questioning again. Once again, he's charming. He gets out of it. No arrest.
Is there no record that they questioned him before?
I don't think so because I think that this was done by two different counties. They had two different task force. So there was a task force developed in Scarborough for the Scarborough rapist, but then there was also a task force developed for the schoolgirl rapist, and I don't think they were talking to each other. Yeah, different task force, different police station, same Paul. This must cool them off for a while because like Kristen's murder, like I told you, made headline news. So I think that they were kind of like, okay, let's just step back for a second. This does not do well for Paul because he starts taking out his frustration on Karla. Major abuse. Like it gets pretty bad. And on January 6th of 1993, Karla is admitted to St. Catherine's General Hospital, the same hospital where her sister was pronounced dead, because Paul had beaten her with a flashlight. And she looks bad, you guys. Like, there are pictures. Again, I'm not going to post them. You can find them if you want. But they are horrific. I have a hard time feeling sorry for her. Nobody deserves to be beaten with a flashlight by your significant other. Okay, but still, like, I'm sorry. Like, I have a hard time feeling bad for you, but it is...
I mean, karma's a bitch.
Karma's a bitch. Paul is arrested for this.
Right.
He is arrested for this assault on Karla, and is then released on bail. And Karla leaves Paul and moves back in with her family. Mm-hmm. Okay. A month later, after this attack on Karla, that DNA sample, you remember the one that he took?
Yeah.
It gets matched to the Scarborough rapist. Yes. And when they let him go, originally, the backlog finally has caught up, and they test this DNA, and it's Paul. It matches to Paul, and they put Paul under surveillance and tap his phone.
Oh, shit.
Yes. They bring Karla in for questioning at this point as well, okay? But not for the rapes that her husband supposedly committed, but for this domestic violence case that she had against herself. And she gets so freaked out, she does not speak to the police. But then as soon as they release her, not release, because she was just being, questioned. She wasn't under arrest. But as soon as she leaves the police station after not talking, she apparently spills her guts to her uncle and tells him everything. Except she's making herself look like the victim.
Oh, yeah.
So she's saying that, he's been abusing me this whole time. He's manipulative, and that's the only reason that I took part. Mm-hmm. Now, her family gets her a lawyer, okay? And also tells...
she tells the sister stuff. She tells everything.
Yes. Everything is...
And the family's still okay, we're going to get you a lawyer.
She thinks it's all Paul. They believe it's all Paul. They convinced her to leave him when she was in the hospital. Because, she was blatant about who beat her. She didn't, try to sugarcoat.
Well, yeah, of course the family doesn't like him now because...
come on, with a flashlight? I'm sure it was a mag light, too. One of them big ones. Like I said, she admits to all of this, but she also tells it to her family she's a victim too, mm-hmm. right? And they believe her, so they get her a lawyer. She spills her guts to the lawyer, tells him everything, but again is painting herself in this light. Now, at this point, okay, by the prosecution, because he's arrested now, mm-hmm. okay, and Karla's talking, right? She is offered 2 10-year sentences for her part in the murders and the rapes, and then an additional 2 years for Tammy's murder. So 12 years. She is allowed to serve these 2 10-year sentences at the same time, simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So they are offering her 12 years in prison if she talks. And she's like, I will tell you everything. She wanted immunity. She wants immunity. She says, I will talk. I'll sing like a canary if you give me immunity. And they're like, no, we're not doing mm-hmm. that. But if you'll tell us everything, we'll give you the 2 10-year sentences that you can serve simultaneously, mm-hmm. and the 2 years for Tammy's death. Okay? She says, fuck yeah, and signs it. This deal that is made is known in Canada as the deal that was made with the devil. Because the police do not have all the evidence yet. She sings like a fucking canary, okay? Mm-hmm. Tells the police everything, right? Again, painting her picture as I'm the victim too, boo-hoo, me, blah, 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 blah. When they get their hands on the footage, they realize that they never even fucking needed her. And they couldn't go back on it. The Crown in Canada would not go back on the deal that was made because it was signed by law that this was the agreement. And they realized by the time that these tapes make it into the investigators' hands that they didn't even need her because she was just as much of a willing participant in all of this as they could. They could have taken both of them down for life in prison. And they didn't because they thought they needed Karla.
Now I want to know how the family feels. How's the family feel? Do we know?
No, we're going to talk about it a little bit more in our Patreon. So you're going to need to sign up for that and listen to a little bit of a deep dive because I do have some more information. But yeah, so whenever they find out that she's a willing participant, it's too late. Paul, on the other hand, is arrested for all of the schoolgirl rapes, the Scarborough rapes. Everybody knows the deal that was made with Karla as well in the community, and mm-hmm. they are fucking pissed.
Yeah?
They are so mad. It's all over the news. I mean, it was terrible. So Paul receives life in prison.
As he should.
And he will never get out of Millhaven Maximum Security Prison in Canada. Okay, so he is 59 now. Yeah. But they don't have the death penalty, so he is serving life in prison, and he was actually deemed like a, like obviously like a huge threat to the community. So like Canada, as we've spoken before in some of our episodes, Canada and Europe, they have much more lenient prison sentences to these people because their main goal is rehabilitation.
Right. But
they do realize that there are certain people that just cannot be rehabilitated, and they deem those people like threats to the community. Mm-hmm. I don't know the exact terminology, but when you have that label in your criminal file, you will never get approved for parole.
Good.
He's been up twice, and they're like, no, absolutely not.
Do not let his tail out.
Yeah.
You're going to go through all this again. You cannot tell me he has been rehabilitated.
No,
Bullshit.
You don't rehabilitate that kind of person. Now, Karla serves all 12 years of her prison sentence.
And she's out?
Not your typical prison sentence, though. No. They first put her in a freaking rehab facility.
No, they freaking didn't.
Until photos of her are leaked to the public. Okay, I love Canadians. They leak these photos to the public of her living it up and smiling in this cushy rehab facility, and the Canadian Crown quickly moves her to a less cushy facility. The facility that she was actually moved to from this rehab facility was conjoined with a male prison. Yes, they were completely separate, but they were like back to back, right? So like the females could like see and talk to the male prisoners through a fence in the yard. That's how close it was. And she develops quite a steamy affair with a male prisoner who was convicted of strangling his wife in a jealous rage.
What a dumb bitch.
I cannot make this shit up, you guys.
What a dumb...
I will say, though, with that being said, she was denied parole because of her relationship with this man, because it's illegal. Like,
so
you can't go...
jail.
Yeah, no.
Son of a gun.
No, I can't. I'm not ready to talk to you about that. But she was denied... She had a third of her sentence left. And they told her, no, we don't think that you're rehabilitated yet, so we're not going to let you out early. With a third of her sentence left. You're telling me that you knew that this woman was not rehabilitated with a third of her sentence left, and you guys still had to let her out on her normal sentence. Absolute madness. She was released on July 4th, 2005.
You have got to be kidding me.
Guess what she did after she got married?
I feel like what I'm going to say is going to be really fucked up.
Guess what she did after she got married, Kandi?
Does she have kids?
She married her lawyer's brother. And 2 years later gave birth to a baby boy.
No.
And would go on to have 2 more kids.
No.
She's a fucking mom.
No.
She's a fucking mother of 3.
No. I'm not okay.
She now goes by her married name.
I'm not okay.
She started volunteering at her kids' school.
I can't.
And when the parents found out who she was, they went to the board and they banned her from ever volunteering at the school again.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I love Canadians. There's a Facebook group ran by the Canadian public who it's dedicated to Karla Homolka.
Invite me to it.
She cannot fucking sneeze in Canada without somebody updating that group.
I need to be on it.
I love it, y'all.
Invite me to it. I need it.
Yeah, they're very adamant about keeping that group updated and where she is, what she's doing. She will never live a peaceful life again. She's constantly harassed.
I feel bad for her kids.
I feel terrible for your kids too, because I'm sorry, like, you are a monster human being to do what you did, but then to also bring kids into this world who know what you did. And marry your lawyer's
brother. And the brother who married you. What an idiot. What an idiot.
That is the story.
I have so much.
Of the Ken and Barbie killers.
I have so many questions. I want to know more. We got to take a trip to Canada.
Oh, are we going to Canada now?
Yep.
We adding that to the travel list?
Yep.
Canada, you guys are freaking savages, and I love you. I just love you. I can't wait.
We're coming.
We're coming to hang out with y'all. But if you guys made it this far and through this episode, wow. Good for you.
I was not prepared for this story.
I'm sorry. wanted to keep it a secret because I kind of
No, it's fine. I like
had
it.
this. I wanted the surprise factor.
Well, you got it.
And you guys, seriously, if you are not following us on Instagram, please, please, please go follow us on Instagram because you guys have to see these pictures. Yep. Well, that's that, you guys.
I don't even have words.
You can join our freaky family at sipsofcrime.com.
Where you can sign up for our monthly Slumber Party Patreon and follow us on social media.
Thanks for listening. Stay alive.